Star Wars fans, the new reports of Hayden Christensen being in the Ahsoka show with Rosario Dawson are awesome.
This is where the fun begins.
I think universally fans are very excited about this possibility, but I wanted to go a little bit deeper and talk about some of the really insane possibilities and theories that could come of Anakin Skywalker being in the Ahsoka show, and perhaps way more content after that. What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Vengers Tower as per usual. And yes, we're going to be talking about crazy theories that I have with regards to Hayden Christensen coming into the Ahsoka show.
Oh, it's you.
Like I said, the report itself is awesome. People are hyped up about it. By the way, Rosario Dawson did delete the social media post that she had made about Hayden coming into that show. Disney's trying to be tight-lipped about this, but it does more or less confirm in that sort of Streisand effect way that, yes, this is going to be absolutely a real thing. Like, Rosario definitely wouldn't have had to delete that if it wasn't real.
What have I done?
Now, some of the more obvious ways that they could use Hayden in the show would have to do with flashbacks. Right? This is something we think will be coming in the Kenobi show, and being a character like Ahsoka that has all these attachments, memories of Anakin from the time of the Clone Wars, and even the battle that she had with him when he was Vader, we could see some really cool sequences that are like vision-like dreams or trances that she is brought into, and has really interesting sort of moments like that with Hayden. There's also the possibility of getting some weird messages that maybe she will discover while looking for Thrawn, something to do with the contingency, and pop up like a recorded hologram or something from Vader, or even Hayden Christensen in a back-to-tank recording some kind of message. Those would all be really cool, just kind of at a base level of fun thing for him to be doing in the show. However, I've got a couple of theories on other things that this could mean, and they are blowing my mind, guys. Like, this is really, really crazy stuff. It could take us in some epic places for Star Wars. So let's start with the first one, which is even sort of hinted at in the article that was broken the Hollywood trays, and this would be a forced ghost situation. Now, we have seen Anakin Skywalker and Hayden Christensen as a forced ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi. This is after, of course, Luke saves his soul, or saves him as a being, bringing him back to the light side, but he does dissolve or die, being brought back into the Force, entering the cosmic Force, and then coming back as a Force ghost. But we have never actually seen him have any influence, do any discussing, or do anything as a Force ghost that would have an impact on the Force itself or the Star Wars canon. And that is what is so interesting to me. Like, I know a lot of people are just excited for that possibility for Ahsoka to get some closure, for her to know how Anakin met his end, and that is cool. I'm not saying that's not cool, but that's not even close to the most interesting aspect of this to me. To me, the idea of the Chosen One coming back from the cosmic Force and having some insight on what Force users should do, what the Force is, or what balance is really, really intriguing. Possible canon-changing stuff. And here's just a couple of things that I think would be really interesting for Anakin to come back and have some kind of a conversation with Ahsoka as a Force ghost about. Number one would be the prophecy itself, right? This was an incredibly big deal. He was the Chosen One. This concept had been with the Jedi for some time, and I wonder, does he have some insight? Has the prophecy been fulfilled, or is it still being fulfilled? What is that like? And this could recontextualize how Ahsoka, and just us as the audience, are going to view content moving past that point in time in the canon. And a lot of this might have to do with balancing the Force in general. Like, what does that mean? How is balance actually achieved? Did Anakin bring balance by destroying the Sith, or is that something that can never actually happen because of balance itself? Is there a greater insight here that he can impart to Ahsoka and then to us, the audience? How does Anakin feel about the Jedi? How does he view the Jedi now that he has all of this crazy cosmic knowledge and he had lived the life that he did? Does he think that the Jedi were wrong? Does he believe that the Jedi should not exist, or should they change the way they view the Force moving forward? Like, what should Force users be doing now? What should someone like Ahsoka be doing now? It is possible that Anakin has some insight into that. And a lot of this kind of ties together with the idea of Palpatine, right? Like, does Anakin believe Palpatine to be dead, or does he know that the spirit of Palpatine is out there in some way, that Palpatine is not eliminated, that threat still exists? And does he perhaps know that there are forces working in the shadows and the dark to try to bring the Emperor back? And does he have any insight into that? And another crazy thing that I think would just be nuts is the possible conversation that one Luke Skywalker might have with Anakin as well. I mean, if Anakin appears as a Force ghost in this time period and it happens in the Ahsoka show, we know that Luke Skywalker is around at this time as well. Why wouldn't Luke Skywalker have a conversation with Anakin? And if some of the rumors are to be believed about Mandalorian Season 3 and Book of Boba Fett, and this idea that Luke may well play a big role in all of the content on Disney Plus in that era, would this be a scenario in which Ahsoka and Luke discover together the ability to communicate with a Force ghost Anakin? And what wisdom might he impart on his own son? And how could that recontextualize some of the events of the sequel trilogy, some of the events before the sequel trilogy, and maybe even stuff to come after the sequel trilogy? That is an incredible realm of possibilities. Bringing Anakin back as a Force ghost is not just simply a fun thing to do for the closure of Ahsoka. It opens up the canon to all sorts of wild possibilities, and those are all questions that I have as a fan that I would want an Anakin Force ghost to discuss, talk about, or even hint at. Now, all of that stuff is crazy enough on its own, and I think if there's a Force ghost Anakin, it's just going to blow my mind. The possibilities are damn near endless on all the cool stuff that they could do. But this possibility, the one I'm about to talk about, might even be crazier and could contextualize things even more moving towards the sequels and eventually past them. And this all has to do with Thrawn, Mount Tantiss, and the character of Sabayoth from the original Heir to the Empire series. Now, Sabayoth was a Jedi that the Emperor cloned and turned sort of into a dark Jedi of sorts. He's like a Jedi, but he uses Force lightning and dark powers like that. And he is there to guard Mount Tantiss. And he also goes insane. He is utilized by Thrawn and leveraged to be a weapon that Thrawn uses to try to reassert control over the galaxy. Now, many different people have thought, wouldn't it be absolutely wild if they did a version of Sabayoth in either the Ahsoka show or in some of the other shows that are going to move past the Ahsoka show in the Filoni-verse or the Mando-verse? This is because with Thrawn being more or less the figurehead and the big bad villain, at least in a lot of rumors, we think that why wouldn't you have a Sabayoth? Why wouldn't Thrawn have a Force user at his side to manipulate, to try to use that to take over the galaxy, right? Thrawn's a smart guy. You can see the potential there. But what if he has a clone of not just any Jedi, but of Anakin Skywalker himself? This would be insane for Thrawn to have even a weakened version of Anakin Skywalker as a clone. Would turn the whole galaxy on its head. It could be a reason as to why Luke Skywalker is going to stop training Grogu, go recruit a big old army to try and stop Thrawn. It would be a legitimate threat for the entire galaxy. Having a Jedi or a Force user with that kind of ability out there would be nuts. It would be fascinating to watch on screen. I think Hayden could really play the part well. It would be just absolutely fascinating. It's borderline too much, and some Star Wars fans might be like, man, I don't know about that. That's too wild. But it's like right there on that edge for me, because I think this could explain a lot of things that happen around this time period and even explain why Luke Skywalker goes into hiding. We've talked about this before. It's one of Star Wars theory's sort of favorite possibilities as to why they explain some of this is the cloning process. The idea that Luke might think, hey, if I'm out there, the possibility of them getting my DNA and cloning me to create another Force user that's hell-bent on destruction would be ridiculous. Well, what if some of that comes from Anakin Skywalker and a clone of Anakin being utilized by Grand Admiral Thrawn in a time period before the Force Awakens? It would be a super big problem for the galaxy. It would require all of these people to work together, and from just a visual fan perspective, it would allow us to see crazy Anakin Skywalker fulfilling his potential as Darth Vader without all of the robotics, and some very interesting visual things, crazy fights where you might have all of these people fighting against an Anakin clone. It would be heartbreaking for Ahsoka. It would be heartbreaking for Luke Skywalker, and it would be a massive danger to the entire galaxy. So I don't know, man. That's a pretty wild possibility, but I couldn't help but think of it. I could see it happening, and I think it would really cause a lot of discussion in the fandom, but people would check it out. People would say, okay, what is this going to be like? And it could, again, contextualize some of the stuff that happens past this point in time around the sequel trilogy. You know, maybe Palpatine even wants to utilize a cloned Anakin body to actually go have his essence be a part of it. Maybe Thrawn thinks that's horrible and he wants to take control of it. Who knows? All sorts of fun possibilities with that. But those are the two main theories, guys. Force Ghost Anakin Skywalker, which would be mind-blowing, and then a clone of Anakin Skywalker being a Sabayoth type character for Grand Admiral Thrawn in content moving forward. That would be mind-blowing as well. So let me know what you think about all of that, guys. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel to see more of our content. Pop up in your recommended feed. Go check out the live streaming channel where we will have discussions about this and all the other nerdy things as they come into the news cycle. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.